What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Good morning and welcome to the AM News. In our first story, President Akufo-Addo has sounded a word of caution to professionals across the country who are shirking their tax obligations. Now, according to him, the current situation where about 60,000 professionals in the nation's workforce are not complying with tax laws is worrying. He sees it as even more embarrassing where lawyers in many jurisdictions who are supposed to ensure sanity in the client's books rather spearhead the canker, leading to shortfall in revenue. The president made these comments at the 2021 Ghana Bar Conference underway at Bolgatanga in the Upper East region.
If we are to get the developments we all crave, then paying taxes must become a regular and unquestioning feature of our lives. I have to point out that if this campaign you're undertaking is to be successful, you will have to start from home. Mr. Outgoing President of the Bar, I'm afraid there's no easy way of putting this. You will have to start from getting members of the Bar to pay their taxes. The record of lawyers in paying taxes has been historically poor. It is unfortunate, but a most unpleasant fact that members of the professions in our country have not been known to set a good example when it comes to paying taxes. They appear to think that being members of the learned professions put them above complying with everyday civic duties, like paying taxes. It is embarrassing. The lawyers are often at the top of the list of those who flout our tax laws and use their expertise to avoid paying taxes. The Ghana Revenue Authority has told a disturbing story about what it discovered earlier this year when it started working with the Registrar General's Department and the National Identification Authority. It found that there are some 60,000 professionals working in the country who are totally outside the purview of the tax authorities. These professionals are lawyers, they are accountants, they are doctors, they are engineers, they are surveyors, they are architects. In other words, they are part of the crème de la crème of Ghanaian society, and they do not pay taxes. They will soon be receiving friendly phone calls from the tax authority. I sincerely hope that those involved would move swiftly to regularize their tax affairs before the GRA moves to crack the whip.
Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei-Edu-Chum says the ministry is working with West African Examinations Council to introduce a serialized test system to stamp out issues of examination malpractices. WAEC has come under intense criticism over its failure to deal with the perennial leakages which have characterized the BEC and WASI. The Africa Education Watch in its 2020 WASI report indicated WAEC over these leakages, claiming the council has reneged on its supervisory role. WAEC has dismissed the claims, threatening legal action. Dr. Edu-Chum says the ministry is finalizing a move to serialize exam questions to block the incidence of leakages. My colleague Manuel Kranting was with the minister on his tour of some senior high schools and now reports.
Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei-Edu-Chum interacting with students of the Kwabenya Community Day Senior High School as part of his tour of the schools sitting the 2021 West Africa Senior School Certificate Examinations in Accra. He has been encouraging the students to take advantage of the free senior high school policy to make themselves, their parents and the entire country proud. He says government had commissioned investigations into the alleged leakage of exams questions.
Based on what WAEC is telling us, their systems are fine. But there has also been some allegations which we have asked that WAEC look into so that any issues that are there can be prevented in the future. And we can avoid situations where people are attempting to either sometimes create websites where they may put on questions that may come or may not come with serious repercussions for the students. Can we imagine being fooled into thinking that some questions are coming that doesn't show up? The rogue website situation, I think the law enforcement is working on it.
As a further step in blocking future repetition, Dr. Educhum said the ministry is working with WAEC to introduce a test serialization system.
And that is what we have begun discussion with WAEC about. We are even talking about serialization, which means there can be about 5 to 10 versions of the same test. So if somebody creates a rogue website and say this question has leaked, there are about 10 versions. How do you know that question is even going to be in your school? Or even if it comes to your school, how do you even know that that will be the question that you're going to be answering? So we are talking to WAEC about a number of things that will make sure that we put to rest this argument as to whether something happened, didn't happen. If we take away the opportunity to say that, yes, we have 10 versions of the test in English, and no students would then rely on anybody going to leak questions because they don't know what is going to show up on the exams. Even if version 1 leaked, what about version 2 to 10? So I believe that just as is being done in other jurisdictions, digital exams, of course, is the future, and that future should be happening in this country. But before we get to digital, we should be looking at serialization.
Meanwhile, the candidates themselves say they are confident of passing the exam.
I'm expecting A's, at least A, B's. Yeah, I don't want to go to C. I'm expecting A, B, like EMAS, maybe at least by B, and like Science A, Commerce A.
Our teachers have done so well by taking us through all the 4 core subjects and also our 4 electives. And we are very confident that with their help we will be able to pass the WASI very well.
It was normal. I felt like I was in class, just practicing. Score plenty A's. That's my expectation.
Apart from Kwabenya SHS, the Education Minister visited West Africa SHS and Frafraha Community Day SHS. For JoyNews, Manuel Quarantine.
The minority in Parliament say it will resist any move by government to increase road tolls. It wants government to account for more than 1 billion cedis Parliament made available for use within the road sector before it will be open to this discussion. Governments and the Association of Road Contractors have been in the news in the last few days over possible toll increments and monies owed contractors. The contractors say government is peddling falsehoods when it claims 800 million cedis have been made available to road contractors to return to work. Stephen Atachi is Vice President of the Association of Road Contractors.
You see, typical example, let's take for instance, they owe us over 5 billion now at the road fund now, over 5 billion. Why do you just come and say 800 have been made available to pay to who? That's the question I want to ask. To pay to who?
To you, the contractors. To you, the contractors.
I mean, look, for instance, if a contractor having about over 12 million Ghana is not paid to the contractor for the work done, not the money paid to you to go to site to, the work done.
Right.
You see, there's a difference between when they give you a mobilization, you say go back to site, it's a different thing altogether. Like as a ranking member has said, there's no mobilization these days. You go to bank. When you go to bank, and the close of the day, the bank or any financial institution have, mobilized you to go to site. And when they pay the money go to, that financiers. Typical example, about some time ago, they say some 40%. If a bank or financial institution had given me 60% and you pay me 40%, do you think that financiers are looking for his money for over, the time due? Do you think he will give you a penny again?
Ranking member on the Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament, Kwame Agboja, says governments must utilize properly the money in the road fund first before asking for more.
Collect about 1.6 billion Ghana cedi from the road fund. In fact, the fund outperformed the projection. We ended up collecting about 1.8 billion. But the Ministry of Finance took away over 900 million Ghana cedis and use it for other project things other than road-related activities. When the road fund was set up, it was solely to do road maintenance and other things, as we are aware. So if you have a situation where Ghanaians have contributed 1.8 billion for them to do the road leading to the Deputy Minister's house, leading to my constituency, and the government decides that they will not use half of that money to do road work, you can see that it is a political choice the government has taken.
Is that a breach of the law in any way? I mean, is that anything that is in conflict with the law when it comes to the road fund?
Well, it is not. It's not a conflict because they put an act to Parliament which basically capped every fund. So every fund that government generates, they collect a portion of it. And in the case of a sad case of the road fund, half of that money. In fact, if you read a 2020 annual report of ESLA, page table 4 and 5, it's so appalling. Look, the sad thing is that I heard you talking about paying 800 million. My brother, do you know what happens? Government awards contracts, and contractors go to the banks to borrow money to go and do the work because they don't give them mobilization, especially the Ghanaian contractors.
Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has also led to an increase in breast cancer cases. The situation has been blamed on disruptions in medical services, such as the cancellation of surgeries. More than 24,000 new cases of cancer occur annually in Ghana, and more than 15,000 people die from the disease. Breast cancer is the most common and still remains the #1 cause of death among Ghanaian women as far as cancers are concerned. But the Center for Transport Security Dialogue, in collaboration with Breast Care International, wants to change this story. Judith Awachitando has more in the following report.
The Center for Transport Security Dialogue, in collaboration with Breast Care International, will this October be moving breast cancer screening and awareness to bus terminals. Beatrice Wiafiade is president of Breast Care International.
We know that a majority of the passengers are women. Breast cancer is a disease that affects mostly women. And because of the nature of the businesses, the woman is always busy. Even when you go to the marketplace, they don't want to leave their wares because they are traveling. So why don't we take the message to them at the transport places, at the lorry parks, inside the buses, so that they wouldn't waste extra time to go for screening. So we are going to create awareness at the transport places. We are going to screen at the lorry parks, the lorry terminals.
The exercise will take place in the major bus stations in Accra and Kumasi at absolutely no cost to beneficiaries. But drivers also have an important role to play in executing this initiative.
We are going to train the drivers as advocates. We are going to let them understand that a lot of what we are going to do depend on them. So they have to understand that it's a responsibility, a responsibility to help our women. And if they want to be in business, the women have to be healthy.
At the launch of the exercise, President of the Center for Transport Security Dialogue, Hamilton Baini Nixon, explained the exercise is targeting about 600 women at each station.
We've had some discussions with the unions and then some transport companies. 2M Express, for instance, the training is going to be held at their terminal in Kumasi. We are also in some discussions with the VVIP, VIP, and the STC. The last check we did, some transport companies transport almost about 1,000 people a day. And this 1,000 people, we have about 600 being women. And so we believe that at least if 600 women are able to be informed on this awareness program, and 400 men also have this information, it will help us go a long way.
This initiative, according to the organizations, is part of efforts to intensify breast cancer screening, diagnosis and treatment in Ghana. Judith Awatritando, JoyNews.
And that'll be all for AM News this morning. But of course, don't go anywhere because the AM show continues with Israel Lai and myself. Welcome back. We're just about to get into the newspapers this morning. I'm not going to tease Israel about it, but if you're just waking up, good morning. And I hope your day is amazing as you are. But shall we get into the news?
The mere mention of the fact that you're not going to tease me is a tease.
Hey, why?
Why didn't you?
Okay, Israel. I think I'm rubbing off on Israel. This is okay. I think okay. We could go on the whole day, you know. But
right.
Maybe we should get into the
let's get
graphic.
into the newspapers here. In the Daily Graphic, we're starting with the Daily Graphic. Protecting democracy, internal vigilance enhanced. President declares. And this story is quite interesting, so I'll read a bit. Internal vigilance will be enhanced to prevent anti-democrats from subverting the established system, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has declared. We shall not let our guard down and allow the clammy embrace of the people by anti-democrats who are disdainful and incapable of effective popular mobilization through accepted channels, but who want shortcuts to power without the express support of the people, he said.
This presidential... and it's President Akufo-Addo.
Delivering the opening address of at the 2021 Annual Delegates Conference of the Ghana Bar Association in Bolgatanga yesterday, the president said the nation had derived enormous benefits from democracy, and it was important that internal vigilance was enhanced to prevent any incursion from persons who had no belief in democratic governance. So, yes, he goes on and talks about the Fourth Republic and how beneficial it has been to the people. He says he observed that the decision by the citizenry to choose the path of democratic governance had ushered the country into the longest and uninterrupted history of stable constitutional and democratic rule. And then he provided data. He says, providing data, President Akufo-Addo said there was no doubt that all aspects of national life had seen significant improvement under democratic dispensations compared to the periods of military rule. Indeed, if we're comparing to the period of military rule, yes, definitely you say that there's been significant improvement. But I think we expect a whole lot more.
I think we like to compare where we are to the West.
Yeah. Essentially.
So then if you do that in your life, if you compare where you are now to the lowest points of your life, you'll always say, oh, you know, this is the best we've been. Charlie, money not there, our pockets inside. There are plenty big English. It should just translate to better salaries, better social welfare systems, better, Charlie, you know, just do the work. Like, Charlie, me there.
You know, I'm sure people, I mean, when we're Democrat, we're voting. You know, we voted for the new referendum and wanted to be ushered into a democratic dispensation. We had high hopes.
They speak big English this morning, pal.
I think we're going to be a whole lot better. A whole lot better. So, yes. Well, let's get on. There are more stories. Gunmen free 240 prisoners in Nigeria. The heavily armed men raided a jail in South Central Nigeria and freed 240 inmates, almost everyone in the prison. The attackers started a gun battle with guards late last Sunday at the medium security prison at Kaba in the Kogi state southwest of the federal capital Abuja, and a spokesperson for the correctional service said. And Somali woman makes rare presidential bid. Niger's president pledges to tackle terror and insecurity, and Guinea opposition warns against sanctions on junta. Okay, so they're saying you shouldn't threaten. A leading figure in Guinea's opposition has urged regional bloc ECOWAS not to impose economic sanctions on Guinea's new military regime, describing the recent coup as a welcome development. All right, let's move to page 9. Israeli Prime Minister makes first visit to Egypt. UK to launch trial of revolutionary cancer test. UN host Afghanistan donor conference. And moving to page 13, incorporate prostate cancer treatment into NHIS, patient petitions, President and Parliament. And prostate cancer, the fact sheet on this story is that prostate cancer is marked by an uncontrolled growth of cells in the prostate gland. The prostate is the walnut-sized gland in men, located just below the bladder and in front of the rectum, surrounding the urethra, the tube that carries urine out of the bladder. The prostate produces and stores fluid that helps to make semen. Yes, in other words, sperm.
Okay.
Oh, is it the same thing?
I don't think so. I think there's a difference. I just can't remember what it is.
Okay, so the semen is the fluid, and then the sperm is found in the...
Okay, so yesterday it was Pornhub, today is semen. Okay, Israel.
We're doing a bit of biology.
Yeah, we are doing a bit of biology. I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing. I couldn't resist. But yeah, check your, I was going to say check your balls, but check your prostate. Yeah, more straight. Yeah.
Whatever. Threat to kill Agrada. That's another story on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Reverend Owusu Bempah, 4 others caged. So the General Overseer of the Glorious Word Power Ministry International, Reverend Isaac Owusu Bempah, and 4 of his church members had to spend 1 week in police custody. Oh, 1 week? As we were remanded by Accra Circuit Court yesterday for allegedly threatening to kill the self-acclaimed evangelist Patricia Udro Kranting, a.k.a. Nana Agrada. Apparently, so the prosecutors have accused Reverend Owusu Bempah of storming Nana Agrada's house with 45 heavily built macho men and threatening to kill her. All right, so that video actually went viral. It's been making the rounds. Apparently, there were some media men who were attacked. The story says accused persons were brought to the court under heavy police escort, with many members of the church trooping to the court premises to support their leader. Journalists who went to the court to cover the case had a torrid time. Majority of them were prevented from entering the courtroom, while those who entered were threatened by some of the church members for writing about the case. Look, why are we having church members threatening journalists? Why are we having pastors threatening fellow pastors?
I really don't. I've thought about this.
It's sending 45 macho men to want to, well...
I don't know. But you know what's interesting about this case is that so Reverend Owusu Bempah's lawyers, were saying that, he has a fixed place of abode, he's a revered man of God and all of that. So obviously, if he's not going to, disappear or anything. But he was still held in custody because the prosecution said that if they let him go, he would interfere with, the investigation one way or another. And I just find that very disturbing that a man of God would have a reputation like that.
Well, now we call them so-called men of God.
You know what I mean? The whole thing is just disturbing. It really worries me as well. I don't think I can explain accurately how much it worries me, because these kinds of things have a direct, they reflect directly on how we see God.
Yeah.
And so Christians...
Well, how non-Christians?
How non-Christians, even some Christians, because Christians get a lot of slack for a lot of bad behavior. And we are very badly behaved, a lot of the times. But sometimes you kind of hope that those who, are in leadership positions will hold themselves to a certain standard of, that's exemplary, or that's, not, I don't know. But then again, I mean, Jesus went into the temple and just beat them up and threw away their stuff, But is this the same thing? No. Well,
if Jesus was around,
he would be beating people here. It would not be. It would not be.
You'd be throwing slaps left, right.
Yeah. But it's unfortunate. I mean, it really pains my heart.
It is. Yeah. All right. Also in the Daily Graphic, surcharge irregularities occupy Ghana demands. So this is also very interesting. On September 7 this year, while the Chief of Staff was busy writing to appoint Mr. Johnson, Ekuamwa Esiedu as the Auditor General, Occupy Ghana, a pressure group, was also busy making new demands on the man who watches over the proper use of the national purse. The group observed that the Auditor General in the 2019 and 2020 audit reports reneged on his power to issue disallowances and surcharges to all persons identified to have been either engaged in or responsible for the illegal use of funds. Now, then there's a response from the Auditor General. It says, however, the Auditor General insists that he was doing the work as mandated by law and would not allow anybody to push him to do things that were not part of his work. But yes, surcharges and irregularities are part of the work of the Auditor General. And in fact, the Occupy Ghana went to court and got that. So the previous Auditor General, Yao Domilovo, who was actually levying those surcharges. Okay, let's see how that goes. Politics, rekindle commitment for MPP victory. Minister urges women's wing. And I'm focused on providing development. Brim North DCE. MPP declares September mass registration month. This will see the party undertake a nationwide exercise of compiling a register of all members of the party, as well as persons wishing to become members. And DCE advocates mandatory for assembly members. And former President Mahama is urging government to complete abandoned projects. And on page 20, Dr. Baumir's mom goes home today. You know, the Vice President lost the mom yesterday.
Yeah.
And she's been buried today. So there's some photos here of people, the President and others who went to pay condolence to him. Now, also we move to page 22. Taxi driver remanded over ritual murder claims. World Vision built health center for Modaso. Do not impede Kettle water project. Sanitation Minister to encroachers. In the center spread, pay your taxes. President urges lawyers. And one of the quotes in there says, if this country is to develop the way we all crave for, then the payment of taxes must become a regular and unquestioning feature of our lives. It is very important that, we pay our taxes. But it is also very, very, very important that the taxes that we pay, taxes are used judiciously and the taxes are not wasted. If people steal the taxes, we should get it from them. So, yes, I agree with the President. We need to pay our taxes, but our taxes should also not be wasted. Ending more practice, Education Ministry WAEC to serialize question papers. Tourism inspectors improve capacity for effective service delivery. And equip students with knowledge, practical experience. DTR urges technical universities. Then moving on, education, International Literacy Day marked in Cape Coast. Justify investment in your education. TVET Commissioner tells candidates. And moving on, page 33, another very interesting story for me. Goods sold are not returnable. Monstrous phrase killing consumers. You know, we get that all the time. Well, in Ghana. It's only in Ghana that you tend to get that. Well,
what?
Goods sold are not returnable.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently the use of the phrase goods sold are not returnable to deny shoppers or buyers their right to return goods purchased. Goods purchase is not captured anywhere under the laws of Ghana. So why are they using that against?
The goods sold are not
returnable.
I don't know. Because as for Ghana, all things are possible.
Because, if you buy something and there's good reason why you want to return.
Yeah, but you know, even in the US and in the UK, when you take something back for a refund, there's a certain integrity that has to have been kept, with the product.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you say the same here? If you want to take something back, will it be, chances are you buy soap, you've broken the seal, and decide I don't like the smell, and then you take it back.
Well, yeah. No, but it should be allowed.
So to make, but even in the US and UK, if you've broken the seal, you can't take it back.
So yeah, if you've broken the seal, you can't take it back.
Yeah, but we understand those things when we are there. But when we're in our own country, we don't understand. You fight with the storekeeper. I understand why. Some businesses just, take up that policy because of the way that we are, Israel.
It's true. Well, you have a point. Small-scale mining can solve poverty. That's a lecturer saying that. Outstanding businesses, individuals on it for sustaining local economy. Student delivers while writing WASI. That's good. So following the first incident, about 12 more female students, all in final year, in writing the ongoing WASI, have been found to be pregnant and due this month. Okay, so we're likely to see more deliveries in the examination hall. Businessman in trouble over $1 million gold scam.
Israel.
Yes.
You've done 13 minutes.
I have?
Yes.
Yeah, but we've been having conversations.
No, we haven't.
We have?
No, we haven't.
Okay, you're still disrupting me. Ignore COVID-19 myths, get vaccinated, TUC urges members. So do you want me to stop?
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Graphic business, banks chase T-bills. While they do that, they starve businesses of loans.
Oh.
It's also a very important story. That's why I'm bringing you all the important stories.
Okay, Israel.
Okay, since you're putting pressure on me, it's okay. I'm doing sports. Queens in Lagos for Aisha Buhari turning, and Akuno sacked for poor performance. In hockey, top official doubts Ghana's success in upcoming tennis. And finally, Kumasi Central Market finally pulled down, and government resettles residents around Tangwe Irrigation Dam. Those who lost their property should let go. If you do not sacrifice something, you can never get anything good. I'm done.
At last, okay. 14 minutes. Wow. Let's move on to.
How many minutes did you take?
I didn't. Even if I took 2 minutes, you still did 12, Israel.
You did. You took more like 4 minutes.
Okay, let's move
on.
Let's move on to the front page of the Ghanaian Times this morning. Cannot with Israel. At the GBA confab in Bolga, 60,000 professionals evade tax. Lawyers, accountants, doctors, politicians, culprits. That's according to the president. Reverend Owusu Bempah, 4 others remanded in police custody over death threat assault. Businessman defrauds colleague of $100,000.
So this Reverend Owusu Bempah story, I've done all the work for you. You don't have to go into the details.
Okay, Israel. Let's move on to page 5 of the Ghanaian Times. 75 abducted children released amid army crackdown. Nigeria mass prison escape after fierce gun battle. On page 6 and 7, UN, Afghans face their most perilous hour. The United Nations is seeking to raise more than $600 million in aid for Afghanistan, warning the country is facing a major humanitarian crisis. There's a plea for global support. Put welfare of citizens above parochial interest. That's on page 7. Has the Kente become a worldwide icon of style? There's a feature on Kente in the news. Papers this morning use church platforms to preach road safety. Adult children resort to filling potholes and begging for alms. Will re-strategize to capture when she see participate in the governance process. That's according to Josephine Nkrumah, who has been speaking there. Education Minister tours WASI centers. And across center spread that story about the president, 60,000 professionals evading tax. NMC appoints committee of experts to find ways to transform GBC. And then that story about Reverend Owusu Bempah also in the middle page of the Ghanaian Times. Fisheries law will be strictly enforced. That's according to Howard Kumsin. The Indian High Commissioner is advocating rural industrialization for Ghana. And, okay, President cuts short for construction of phase 2 of UHAS campus. Mexican ambassador urges intra-Muslim relationships. Okay, so that's in terms of business and stuff. Okay, lending rates could drop 10 to 15% if economic fundamentals improve. Oil prices are climbing, gold prices are declining. That's happening in the world. And of course, major sports news story this morning is GFA sacks Akono and 2 assistants. 3-member committee formed and asked to find a replacement within 72 hours. That's very interesting. On the back page of the Ghanaian Times, Ministry of Education officials dispatched to inspect Hojo SHS in the Volta region following Ghanaian Times publication, and Honey Valley Presby Polyclinic progressing. I'm going to go straight into the Daily Guide because we don't know what Israel will do with the Business and Financial Times. On the front page of the Daily Guide this morning, Owusu Bempa cage of Agrada, Baumia loses mum. Biposo killer driver walking free and pay your taxes. That's according to President Akufo-Addo. Some international stories. Macron's ex-bodyguard goes on trial over May Day assaults. Nigerian prisoners on the run after raid by gunmen. And thousands flee forest fires in southern Spain. That's international news in the Daily Guide. In other stories, Ridge Hospital gets temporary COVID-19 isolation center. The Swami interchange will be ready by 2024. I won't allow Diana Hobson to lead Gamero. That's according to Akosua Ajepong, who has been speaking. Wizkid Beyonce win 2021 MTV VMA with Brown Skin Girl. Do you love that song? Shatawale accuses 3 music awards of favoritism. Were you going to say something?
I thought you were asking me if I love that song.
Oh, no. Do you? I wasn't, but I could ask. You do?
Yeah.
Have you heard Kanye West's gospel version?
No.
Okay. It's an interesting version.
Okay.
Other stories, amplify African culinary flavors. Government airs to ensure public assets. Ajinasari hails Let Accra Work campaign. Of course, that has to do with the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Henry Quartey. Tema Motorway Interchange Phase 2 is going to start in November. Taxi driver remanded over ritual murders claim. And Bernard Amankwa gears up for celebration of his grace concert. Music has more power than words. That's according to Right Reverend Professor Joseph Obriye Boamante. Kobe Psalm bags 10 nominations at the 2021 Urban Gospel Music Awards. And, of course, on the back page of the Daily Guide, GFA sacks Akono, new coach expected in 72 hours. That should be interesting. I wonder if they're going to stick with the Made in Ghana thingy that they have going on.
I don't know. I'm not sure if we can. Anyway, let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Bet Power, okay. Ghanaian creatives are taking the fight against malaria to our screens with launch of the Underestimated Villain film. Okay. So the movie is called Underestimated Villain, and it's on the obviously the mosquito is the underestimated villain. So it's about malaria advocacy. That's it for the Ghanaian Times and the Daily Graphic, done in about 7 minutes.
Okay. Let's do the Business and Financial Times. Let's make tax payments a habit. That's the president saying that. Pension fund share of equities market dips. 289,000 jobs created so far by 106 1D, 1F firms. That's the Trade Ministry saying that. And Ghana Tourism Authority targets 10,000 beneficiaries under Ghana Cares Skills Project. That's a BNFT done in less than 30 seconds.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you want to just do the finder?
So the finder, court remands Reverend Owusu Bempa and 4 others. GFA sacks CK Akono and 2 deputies. Shops for new coach. Tributes pour in for Dr. Baumia's mother. Disallow and surcharge regular expenses. Occupy Ghana charges Auditor General. But the Auditor General says, please don't push me. And let me do my job. Make paying taxes a habit. That's President Akufo-Addo admonishing Ghanaians. And we also want protection of the public purse to be a habit. And ADB wins Bank of the Year at National Business Honors. So that will be it for the finder.
Okay, let me do the Daily Statesman real quick, and then we go to My Joy Online. No way for anti-Democrats. Akufo-Addo warns. Now, there's a rabies outbreak in Tema West Municipality. The Tema West Municipality is topping reported cases of rabies. $120 million Greater Kumasi Area Sanitation Project is set to start next month. WASI candidates have been urged to exhibit discipline during their exams, and Ghana is gearing up for World Tourism Day celebrations. Okay, that should be interesting. The taxi driver has been arrested for confessing to ritual killing on radio, which is quite interesting that he would do that. All set for the 2021 Miss Health Ghana Showdown. Akon on Michael K. Williams' death. Rich people have more issues than the poor. So a few days ago, actor Michael K. Williams died, and a lot of the celebrities have been speaking about that. Really sad. May his soul rest in peace. Efforts underway to end Somalia leaders' spat. Tunisian president indicates plans to amend the constitution. Nigeria kidnap crisis. Letters replace phones. I brought you that story yesterday. And some sports, it was literally two hands. Man City unhappy as extraordinary goal ends Spurs shock win. Ibrahimovic, 39, returns from injury to score in his 24th league season. Hearts of Oak lose. Oh, so much joy that a story has been repeated. Hearts of Oak lose to Accra Lions in friendly ahead of the CAF Championship League. Salah scores 100th Premier League goal in Liverpool win. Yes, you'll never stand alone. And Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta expects more from Thomas Partey in this season. And that's it for the Daily Statesman. I think we're going to go straight onto myjoyonline.com.
All right, so on myjoyonline.com, top story there, judge erred in ruling on Rastafarian students at Chimota School, AG Appeals Court. Okay. Reverend Osu Bempa hospitalized after court denies him and 3 others bail. And criticizing, this hospitalization thing, it appears that's a trick most of these prominent people use.
Yeah.
When they find themselves
in trouble,
being caged. All right, criticizing court rulings, not tantamount to denigrating the judiciary. Maliba, free SHS program was implemented to simply win votes. Brigadier General retired Nunu Mensah. There have been attempts to undermine public confidence in the judiciary. Godfred Dami, Rachel Meda, court remand taxi driver. And a GFAXO sets up committee to search for new Black Stars coach and assistants. COVID-19, Ghana's death toll, now 1,098. And government owes contractors 5 billion cedis. Road Contractors Association. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot.
The government has to pay. And, well, that's a tough one. In the opinions, in fact, if we move down there, in the opinions, we have a couple of stories there. I would encourage you to go check out. Okay, so Bright Simmons, GMPC's incompetence forced ENI to resort to arbitration. And Eric Aite of My Joy Online, he's writing a nice article on to build or to buy, the dilemma of a prospective homeowner in Ghana. It's an interesting piece. You may want to get to that, to get to read, find out for yourself what he has in there. Okay.
Okay. So that's it for the newspaper review. We're going to take a quick break or short break. When we come back, we'll be diving into sports. Israel has something to say right now.
Well, yeah, we'll be getting into sports. Rick Wapofo will be here to bring you the sport, but then we'll have the conversation about CK Akono's sacking. And I'm saying that my personal position is that, look, we can sack the coaches, as many coaches as we want, and we've been sacking coaches. But if we don't look at the fundamentals, consider the issues that are plaguing Ghana football, we'll keep sacking and nothing.
Keep sacking and nothing will change. Well, you hear so much more because we will have some football pundits, you know, really assess whether this was a good move or not. Last week when Israel didn't come to work, and I did the show by myself, I was talking to George Adam Jr. He had been calling for the sacking of CK Akono because he had said that they didn't even have confidence in him in the first place because they had such a massive technical team who were, you know, kind of having to run the squad because they didn't actually have a lot of confidence in the coach. So it looks as if, you know, this was a foregone conclusion, maybe from the beginning even. Did we set him up to fail? Is that what we did? Was it the best decision that was made in the first place? Or we'll explore all of those angles when we come back. So don't go anywhere. It's a quick break, and then it's sports with Ereku, and then it's back with just the two of us.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM Sports with me, Horeko Ampofo. Well, it's been a vibrant past 12 hours, especially in Ghana football, and that's because the Executive Council of the Ghana Football Association took a very difficult or tough decision to terminate the contract or the appointment of Black Stars coach C.K. Akono and his 2 assistants with immediate effect. But what does this mean for the national team going forward? So we'll be getting you into some slides, providing you with the background of the sacking and what really went into that. We know that C.K. Akono provided the management committee with a report with the 2 games against Ethiopia and then South Africa, and then we had the technical team also provide the report as well. And that after those reports were submitted, we heard the news after the Executive Council meeting that he's been sacked. But what's really next for the Black Stars? So what we do know as of now is that C.K. Akono has been sacked and his contract has been terminated alongside his 2 assistants. And then C.K. Akono, he succeeded Kwesi Appiah, who he was assistant to for about a couple of months in January 2020. In terms of the search for a new coach, we're told that we would have an answer in the next 72 hours. And these are the 3 men who would be leading that committee. We have Mark Addo, Alhaji Salif Uzida, and then Dr. Randy Abe. These 3 men, well, as of now, is no longer 72 hours because it happened yesterday evening. And so they would have close to 60 of around late 50 hours to be able to find a Black Stars coach. We should hear a new name around Thursday. But let's, throw the cards back a bit and talk about maybe why C.K. Akono was sacked. In terms of performances, he managed 10 games with a win rate of 40%. His team did score 12 goals in those 10 games, averaging just above a goal per game. However, the defense was a bit of a problem as they almost conceded a goal per game. Well, since the inception of football as the Black Stars in 1958, till date, there's been 47 coaches for the Black Stars. Out of those 47, we have 23 of them being indigents and then 24 being foreigners.
The news is out there already. C.K. Akono, head coach of the Ghana Black Stars, he's been given the sack. I mean, literally, asked to go. And we all know why. It's because of the performance of the Black Stars. There are those who don't think that the coach has a firm grasp over the team, and probably that's why the team is not performing. But yeah, there are those who also have different opinions or differ when it comes to that. So we're going to spend the next few minutes to get into that conversation. There's not so much about why we are where we are. It's more about looking forward. And joining me for this conversation, I have Horeko Ampofo, who I didn't allow to go after he was done with the sport, so we can have this conversation. And then we're also having, joining us via Zoom, George Addo Jr. of Joy Sports. He's chilling in the UK, wondering when George is going. George, when are you going to come back to Ghana?
Very soon.
Very soon.
Yes, very, very soon. Yeah.
Very soon, as in the politicians will say it's in the pipeline, or you mean?
I mean, very, very soon. I mean, not too long. Not too long. I mean,
all right.
A matter of days.
All right, sure. Also joining us for the conversation is Sam Johnson, is a former Black Stars player. Thank you very much for making time to speak with us. All right, so he's not on yet, but he will be connecting in a bit. So, George, I'm going to start with you. You essentially thought that C.K. Akono should go, and he's been axed. Are you happy now?
Yes, for the first part, I'm okay, because I think that it works for C.K. Akono and it works for Ghana. Because
why do you say it works for CK Akono?
Yeah, it works for CK Akono because I just could not think about a way CK Akono was going to be able to stop the manipulation at the top. I did not think CK Akono was ready to handle this Black Stars team. And I say this Black Stars team because this Black Stars team has got no special players in quotes. They've got no Abedi Pele, they've got no CK Akono, they've got no player who can, spring up some magic and win a game for you. This Black Stars team has got good players, but it's a team that needs good tactics, and it's a team that needs to play collectively as a team and at a level consistently before we can get something out of them. I don't think we have the right coach in CK Akono to handle this Black Stars team. So I could take you back to what we have seen anytime we get to a point like this when we have to deal with transition. We've normally had strong coaches who are able to take serious decisions, who are able to throw in youngsters, who are able to withstand the pressure that comes from the system. I don't think that the pressure that comes from the system is going anytime soon. And so it meant that we needed a coach who can stand up to any Black Stars management committee member who says, put my player in. Like Milovan Rajevac told them, I don't want Suleiman Tari to be part of the World Cup squad. And he was driving him out of the place. And then they went to beg, and Suleiman Tari says, all right. Milovan Rajevac said, all right, Suleiman Tari will only play, but only to my instructions. And we saw Suleiman Tari come on and do exactly what he wanted. So Milovan Rajevac can pick a player from the Chan team and put him straight into the Africa Cup of Nations squad. And he says, I'm going with this, I'm dropping the players, I'm good. And he was sure about what he was doing. I don't think CK, had gotten to that point yet. And I feel that, well, it was going to go down the lines. He needs to go and learn. And more importantly, he'll come back with bigger balls and we'll be able to stand up to him, because I think CK knows, he's watching us this morning, that so many things went wrong, so many things were going on he wasn't happy about, but he just couldn't come out to talk about it. And so I think at this point, it was good that, he just left the job, because I don't even think that those who employed him believed in him based on the trajectory of the way he had the job and all we saw till now. So I think it works for CK Akono and it works for Ghana. It gives us a chance now, after 2 games in the World Cup qualifiers, to restart things if we have the right man and go in and qualify for the World Cup.
All right. Thank you very much. Now we have Sam Johnson also joining us, former Black Stars player. Good morning to you, Foyo. Thank you for making time to speak with us. So George Addo Jr. thinks that the axing of Coach CK Akono actually works for him. What's your position on that?
Yeah, let me say hello to everyone this morning. It's very sad this is happening, but what am I going to say? This is what Ghanaians want, because the beginning is very poor, and sometimes you have to do these things so that it won't be late before you realize it won't be late for you. So I think it's the right thing to do, because things are not going on well, and this is how it's supposed to be. So I think it's okay. I'm okay with that. But,
so for you. So George Addo Jr. actually thinks that it is good for CK Akono himself. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so, because like I said, if it goes more worse than now, which nobody knows what is coming in future for him. So it's better now than later, because my only problem is that how is only CK and his assistant or all the technical team is going out?
Yeah. No, it's CK and his assistants.
But the technical director is still there. The white man is still there.
Okay, let me just get that from Kampo, who is with me in the studio. So I know it's CK and 2.
Yeah, David Duncan and Patrick Gavras, who just came in a couple of months, I think May 31st. So those are the only 3 going at this point.
The technical director,
technical director, Bernard Lippe, he stays for now.
Okay, so the technical director is staying for you.
Yeah, that is where I'm also having problem with that.
Okay.
Because I'm having problem with that. If we have a technical director, okay, as a white person, the technical director who can bring a third division player from outside coming to play our national team? Why we have premiership here, that we have premier players here, and television person can come and play for our national team? So that means the person don't regard what we are doing here.
All right.
And I don't see that person as a person who's supposed to be a technical director for our national team.
So you think that the technical director too should also...
If CK is going, CK is supposed to go with the technical director, because the technical director is also included. Recruiting and everything, the technical director is there. So if CK is going and the technical director is there, I don't see why the technical director is supposed to be there. Me personally, I don't see that. Because whatever CK is doing, he will report to the technical director, and the technical director will also give him the advice. So what kind of advice is giving him? I don't have a problem CK is going, because things are not going on well. Fine. But who is the head of that department? So if CK is going, we always, use one person to see that person is the person away.
For you have been a Black Stars player yourself. Are you in touch with the current crop of players, and do you know what sentiments they're sharing right now?
No, that is true. No, but what I'm saying is that the technical director is there. What is his job? Because now we went there and then we see CK as, okay, the team is not performing, right? That's why we are sending him off. So what is the real thing that is there, that maybe why the team is not performing? Yeah. Are we also thinking about those things?
Let me ask George. George, do you think that the technical coach should also go? The technical director.
For two reasons. Reason one, because the Ghana Football Association president, in an interview with Gary Al-Smith, my colleague on Joy FM and Joy News, did indicate that, for instance, the selection of players was obviously going to go through a certain process, which had members of a committee vetting Coach Siki Akono's selection. I mean, any player that he wanted to invite to the Black Stars had to go through a committee. We have said that player selection was one of the reasons that the team is not gelling the way they're supposed to gel. Uriku has all the numbers on what we have done in 6 call-ups. In 10 matches, over 75 players from Coach Siki Akono. It was not just Coach Siki Akono, because Ket Okraku, the FA president, said that he had a committee or he had a process that the list had to go through. So at the end of it, in terms of the selection of players that was coming through, definitely Bernard Lippe, the technical director, must own a bit of the blame here. We must blame him. He must take a bit of responsibility. Now, that audio that was the exclusive audio that we got, that we put in the system from Braden Menu, that audio from the boy, the young man who plays for Darmstadt, he said the first call that came to him was from Bernard Lippe before Siki Akono called. And before, Alexa Santi asked him that he should get a passport and come and join the Black Stars, of which he didn't even believe that he deserved a call-up. That first call was made by Bernard Lippe. So if I had Bernard Lippe today on the show, I'll ask him, Bernard Lippe, why did you call Braden Menu? Because the guy says he does not even believe that he's there. He has done only 68 minutes in a season, or 73 minutes in a season. He had just played 1 cup game, 15 minutes. How did he get into the Black Stars? And that's the question that we need to ask Bernard Lippe. And that's why a lot of people feel that Bernard Lippe is part of the mess. You can't sack Siki Akono and Duncan and all the assistant coaches and leave Bernard Lippe there. Because remember, we have to make sure that this exercise does not end with us going back to it again. So if people have erred in their job, and because you have a technical director handled by a technical director in Bernard Lippe, he is aware of every selection that Coach Siki Akono did, per what the Ghana Football Association president said. So why have we left Bernard Lippe out of this? That's the big question. Yeah. Because if you have kept Bernard Lippe there, he will still call a lot of the Braden Menuns when the new coach comes. Okay. And that's why when we get to which kind of coach, I will talk to you, because if we get the right kind of coach, Israel, if we get the right kind of coach, the first thing you would know, or the first thing you hear about, is a serious battle between him and the technical director if he's not sacked.
All right. Uriel Kampofo, This technical director, you also think he should go?
Well, you ask yourself why he was appointed in the first place. And it takes me back to, the interviews that were granted and what was released to the media in terms of the reason he was appointed. Now, he said that he was in and it was going to take some time, but he's drawn a pathway on how to get Ghana football to grow in a certain direction and to get an identity for Ghana football. And he said that this would take, investment in the lower divisions, coach football and youth football and all that. So steps had already been taken. And there were even plans to tour around Ghana. So per the information we received, Bernard Lepe came in to actually put down a blueprint of how Ghana is supposed to play.
All right.
When you look at teams across Europe, you know what they stand for, you know what type of football they play. So after 1 year, if things are not going well, you look at how CK Akono is playing, and we still cannot tell how the team plays. The team is struggling to create chances. Certainly, the burden cannot be on CK alone, because you said that Bernard Lepe was supposed to bring a blueprint of how we're supposed to play. So if you're not able to see how Ghana is playing after his time in charge, then of course he has to be of questions as well.
Could it be that we have the blueprint, but it has not been implemented? So he may have delivered on the blueprint, but we are not implementing that.
Well, there were rumors also going around that he wasn't. There was a bit of tension between him and CK Akono, and he actually provided a technical report for the South African game, one that the technical team do believe that if CK Akono followed, there was no way the team was going to lose. At least they would have got a draw. And it looks as if CK did not follow, the technical instructions given to him. So it's difficult to weigh in because there are tensions even between CK and David Duncan. They had their own issues.
Right.
So it's difficult to weigh in on what exactly went on in the camp. But what we do know, or what we are hearing, is that CK Akono wasn't always taking technical direction from him, especially in game where he can fully control things. When it comes to player call-ups, you can call a player. But when it comes to the match, you can tell him to play this guy on the left wing. When he goes, CK can change that. So there was some disparity in terms of how they see the game and how they interpret it. Which then brings me to the question of, what really do we want to achieve with this Black Stars? And are we sure that everyone is on the same page, including all stakeholders from the technical team, the coach, the players, the fans? We keep on telling ourselves we want to win the Africa Cup of Nations, we want to get to the semi-final. Trust me, no team does that by just saying it. This is a low moment for Ghana football. We need to be real with ourselves and then understand how we can build again in 2-3 years.
Yeah.
I think it's a lazy approach to just say that we're going to win the Africa Cup of Nations, we're going to make the semi-finals of the World Cup, and then just sit there and expect things to happen. How are we going to do that?
So Sam Johnson actually mentioned something, and he was saying that he didn't see why the technical director who was brought in, and he would go and call up someone from the third division side when there were players in the Premier League, the Ghana Premier League, who you could have called upon. He says for him, it suggests that he doesn't believe in the Ghana Premier League. But you're also talking about the fact that he was supposed to come up with a blueprint where we're going to develop or, get players, right, going through the ranks from Colts all the way. Is that the way forward? Do you believe that that's the way we should go?
Yeah, I think that's the way forward, because what's going to happen now is that the management committee or the committee set up to appoint a new coach in 72 hours would most likely pick a coach who's available, not necessarily a coach who fits what Ghana needs.
All right.
And the question is, what does Ghana need? We don't know. What style of football does Ghana want to play? Do we want to play quick passing football? Are we calling such players? You look at the recent call-ups, and he called Hearts of Oak right back Fatau. Was Fatau called because Hearts of Oak won the league or because he's the best right back in the Premier League? Now here's the trick. Fatau is a fullback who loves to go for it. Defensively, he's not the best. So if you knew you're going to spend majority of the game defending against South Africa, why would you take a fullback who loves to attack and not defend? So it looks as if we're not on the same page, and we need to understand what we want and then call players based on the style of football that you want to play. That's the only way you can get the best out of your players.
George Addo Jr., what's the way forward?
Now, the only way is to get a man who knows what he can do for Ghana. Bernard Lepe, I can say, did not know what he could do for Ghana. And I'll be dropping a video of him in his initial interview when the Black Stars played against Mali in Turkey, where he honestly spoke to Patrick Osiajima in Songo and said, I'm here to learn about the system. I'm here to go through it and I'll decide what to do next. That was his first interview. And after that, there was an arranged interview by the Ghana Football Association to polish things up. I think it's time to bring that interview back. He did not know what he was about. Milovan Rajevac knew what he was about in 2009. So the CHAN team played in a certain way, went to the finals of the CHAN. He joined Sela Stete, 2009 FIFA Under-20 World Cup. We won it. The AFCON in 2010, he was bold enough to call some of these boys that he has seen playing. We were second with a young team. He was a one-man against the whole of Ghana. When we said, why are you taking these young boys to the Africa Cup of Nations? He said, I know what I'm doing. Andre Ayew was part of that team. They went to the Africa Cup of Nations, and then they were second. Then he took them to the World Cup. In the World Cup, he was bold enough to call a player like Lee Addy, who was a local player. Lee Addy walked into the Black Stars and felt comfortable and played well in the World Cup. And in the World Cup, we were one kick away from the semi-finals. That is a man who knows what he was about. And it was good work done by a number of coaches. Ratome Chukwueze from Clarewa, who thought that Andre Ayew was good enough to get into the Black Stars team. When everybody said, why are you putting Andre Ayew in the Black Stars team? Is it because his father played? Is it because somebody played? He said, look, guys, I know what I've seen in Andre Ayew. I did the same for Samuel Eto'o. He did well. I am doing the same. Andre Ayew down the line today, he's the captain of the Black Stars. We need a man who understands what he wants to do for Ghana and will take it irrespective of the kind of challenges that come in terms of disagreements with the top brass of football. Now, it's important that Ket Okraku, Prosper Harrison Ado, we have got a very, very complicated and let me say sophisticated Ghana Football Association leadership who have an idea of the ins and outs of football. They have had one or two stints with, football agencies. They have managed players and everything. So they are going to be a difficult bunch to deal with. So if you step in this Black Stars team as a Black Stars coach and you cannot go head to head with them when you have decided on the way to go, you have a big problem. That is Siki Akono's problem. Today, if Siki Akono grants an interview, we'll hear things. And there are more things that haven't come up. But it is important that the system is able to raise a man who can stand against it. If you can't do that, let's all forget it. And I have told you the way the FA is now. So you have to be very, very sophisticated and you have to go head to head. We've got Black Stars coaches who said, like you will not play the World Cup walkouts. We have got coaches who have to take a decision between Sami Eje, who was doing well in the Ghana Premier League, and Olele Kingston. And they took a decision. So the man must say, I will take a decision and my glad is on it. I want this young man to go in. Fatal Mohammed goes into the Black Stars squad. And then when he comes back, he says, I was not even feeling comfortable. The stadium scared me. Anthony Annan walked into a 2006, Black Stars, the 2008 World Cup, 2008 AFCON team. We saw Shea Eliasu, another Ghana Premier League player from Ken Faisal to Kotoko, walk into a Black Stars squad. Shea Eliasu replaced Sami Kufo. Sami Kufo was Bayern Munich. He had played the Champions League, blah, blah, blah. Shea Eliasu replaced him in the World Cup. So we have got a lot of things wrong. Our under 17, under 20, under 23 have to be properly synchronized.
All right.
The last time we had one man directing all of that was Milovan Rajevac, and that's why we have benefited till today. The players in the Black Stars have been, the key players, we started using them maybe from the 2009, the 2008 thereabouts, and now all those players have moved out of main leagues into the Asian leagues.
Yeah.
Clearly telling you where we are going at the moment.
Okay.
If we don't have the right man to change anything, we are going nowhere.
All right. For you, I'd want to also ask you, do you think that we can get a local replacement for Siki Akono, or would have to look outside?
Yeah, we can get something from here. We can get something. I think there is a lot of my colleagues and also the old coaches. Some of them are still around.
Who are some of the people you'd like to mention?
But no, dude, I don't want to mention names, but you people know better than I do. And what I'm trying to say is that my brothers have said a lot of things. Some of them are very right, but me personally, I also want to say me personally because it's me talking now.
Yeah.
There are certain things in the national team. Every time people are saying that when the white man comes, the white man can do whatever he wants to do, but why the black man can do whatever he wants to do? When it comes to calling the players, I know the players that will be okay for what I want to do for Ghana. That if I do this, if I play, no, Ghana is always going to be 4-4-2 nation. And that is what we've been playing since. 4-3-3, 4-4-2, whatever. Our style of play is 4-2-2, 4-4-2. And that is what we have to, do everything on. In Ghana here, all the teams, almost 70 or 80% play 4-4-2.
All right.
So if we want to do something, we have to build on what we know already.
Okay.
And polish it, because that is what is going down. All the caps that we won from Adam.
All right.
It's the same 4-4-2 we play. All the caps, including the World Cup or whatever, it's the same 4-4-2. So why don't we build on that? We specialize on that one, because that is what we are. So it's going to be very easy for us to upgrade it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Sam Johnson, former Black Stars player, for you, for making time to speak with us. And to you as well, George Adu Jr., who joined us from London. And we're expecting you back in town very, very soon. You take care.
If there's any Ghanaian coach, here on the scene who can do this job. So we have to look outside.
All right. Thank you very much.
We have to stop the Ghana Beyond 8. The Ghana Beyond 8 for the Black Stars doesn't work, because you have top stars and you have to look for top coaches. So Ghana Beyond 8, the president says that, well, I want a Ghana coach.
What names would you suggest?
I've seen the Utuado bit. He's currently the assistant manager at Borussia Dortmund. He's gone through the ranks. I've heard about Ibrahim Tanko, who has also gone through the ranks. He has a bit of national team feel, Black Stars and Cameroon. I've heard about George Boateng, who is currently handling the under-23 of Aston Villa. These are fine guys, right. But I still don't believe they'll be strong enough to face the FA.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, George Ado Jr. And back in the studio, Oreku, so what do you think? Do you think we can get a local replacement for CK Akono? We'll have to look outside.
I think we have to look outside because of the points that George summarized. When you become coach of the Black Stars, it's not just about the job alone. There are extra and political forces that you'd have to fight, and I don't think there's anyone capable on the local scene to do that at the moment because of how we view local coaches. It's almost as if they're seen as you are giving them a favor. You don't expect the job, and so you are even overwhelmed. So your body language alone allows them to take advantage of you. That's not the same way.
So if we are to look outside, are we to look at Ghanaians who are into coaching outside? Like George was indicating, he mentioned George Boateng.
Yeah, and then Otoado. Yeah, I think those are really good guys, and they know their stuff. They've reoriented how they think, and I don't think they're going. You're going to pick someone working at Dortmund, and he would in any way think that you give him a Black Stars job is a favor.
It's a favor
because I think he's really comfortable. They're working with some of the best talents in the world, and so by virtue of that alone, you do know that at least you have very talented coaches out there who, the way they think is different from how the local coaches do. I think by virtue of that, that is a better, probably an upgrade. And even their coaching education alone, what they've been previewed to, is way more than our coaches here have seen. So I think it's high time that we admit that we are going down. And the only way we can come back, as our history suggests, is when a foreign coach comes in. So I think that's the only logical way to go right now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Reku Ampofo, who is here at Joy Sports. And that'll be all for the conversation. But I'm sure this conversation is going to continue in your homes. And we're going to be asking whether we should have a local coach or a foreign coach. If we're getting a foreign coach, we get a Ghanaian foreign coach. But that conversation is going to continue. Right here on the AM show, we're continuing our conversation, or we're starting another conversation that has to do with my interview with Harriet Thompson, the first female UK High Commissioner to Ghana. She's been speaking about a number of things, and we're going to have that conversation with her in a bit. So do stay tuned in. This is still the AM show.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
And thank you too. So, well, this is where we take off our masks.
Super.
So, yeah, it's we're in a pandemic, and so we have to keep our mask on all the time. But yes, for an interview like this, where we're outdoors and there's a lot of breeze and we're socially distanced, it's okay to take off the mask. So, yes, we can get into the conversation straight away. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Your Excellency Harriet Thompson, the British High Commissioner to Ghana. But you're not just Ghana, it's Ghana in a number of other West African countries,
That's right, yeah. I'll be non-resident ambassador also to Togo, Benin and Burkina Faso.
All right, so you have been in Ghana for a few months now. What's it been like for your first
Such a warm welcome.
Okay.
It's been lovely, really lovely. My family are here with me now. They're also feeling very happily settled. It's been great getting to know a few people. All of the conversations that I've had give me absolute confidence that we're going to have a great time here as a family, but also that there's loads of good stuff that the UK and Ghana can continue doing together.
Well, yeah, and maybe on behalf of Ghanaians, I'd want to welcome you, to Ghana and say Akwaba.
Medasi.
Okay, so you've picked up some...
not enough, not enough.
Well, yeah, but you get it.
I will.
You get it. And I like your pants. You've already assimilated.
Yeah, I love African fabrics. It's a bit of a weakness, I'm afraid.
Ah. All right, so... I'm happy you're enjoying your stay so far. You were previously posted to Nigeria, where you were Deputy High Commissioner in Abuja and then Lagos. I'd want to understand how the system works in Nigeria, because here in Ghana we just have the Accra, the High Commission based in Accra, but in Nigeria you have two.
Yeah, that's right. Because Nigeria is such a big country, we have what's called our sovereign post, our main post in the capital, Abuja, but we also have some subordinate missions. So the Deputy High Commission in Lagos is the biggest of those, but we have another 4 offices across the country as well. So I was the Deputy High Commissioner and Deputy Head of Mission in Abuja, and then moved down to Lagos and was the head of that subordinate post.
Okay. So you've been in Ghana for a few months. Have you tried any of our foods yet?
I have. Kelewele is my all-time favorite so far.
Kelewele.
Delicious.
Okay.
Delicious.
But it's quite spicy.
Yeah, that's good though. That's
good.
Yeah.
You're okay with the spice?
Not too much spice, but yeah, spicy is nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get into the conversations about jollof, but I don't mind if you want to talk about jollof and
maybe
talk about...
All versions are delicious. Apart from my own, I should say, in between the time in Nigeria and in Ghana, we were back in the UK for about a year, and I tried to cook jollof rice on a few occasions for my kids. And each time I tried a different recipe, and each time they said no. So it turns out that all jollof is good apart from my jollof.
Okay, you're trying to be diplomatic here. Is that what you're trying to do so that you don't
no way I'm coming out on the question that you want me to come out on, no.
You don't want to talk about
diplomatic
the jollof wars?
No way, no way.
Oh.
All varieties are good apart from my own.
Okay, that's a smart way to go about it. But yeah, I'm sure there are people who will be wondering, okay, she's been in Ghana, she has to be, tell us that our jollof is nice. We like to be told that our jollof is nice.
It's very nice. It's very nice. I enjoy it very much, yeah.
But you're not going to get into the war?
No way.
Between Nigeria.
I'm a diplomat.
How about Nigeria jollof?
Very nice too.
I can get you. Anyway, what have you always been a diplomat, or you got into it at some point in your career?
No, I wasn't always a diplomat. When I left university, I decided not to join the diplomatic service because I didn't like the idea of moving on. I'm very bad at saying goodbyes. So I joined as a regular civil servant.
Okay.
I've worked in 6 different government departments covering a huge range of areas: trade policy, organised crime, climate, energy, a real range. But I've worked for the Foreign Office previously, a long time ago, at our permanent representation to the EU, where I worked on trade policy. And then the next posting was in Nigeria. The range of experience that I've had across the UK civil service is really good for a posting like this, because the breadth of our relationship with Ghana is so wide. Having done a little bit of a lot of things puts me in quite a good position.
Okay. So, but what did you want to be growing up?
The one thing I knew growing up is that I wanted to travel, I wanted to see the world. So I had various things on my list that I thought would get me to that aim. So pilot was up there.
Oh, I also wanted to be a pilot.
Yeah. I then realised that I'm actually not that fond of taking off or landing, so pilot would not be a good choice for me. Diplomat's a much better position.
Yeah, and indeed, I'm sure you've seen the world. How many countries?
So I've only worked in Nigeria, Brussels and Ghana for the Foreign Office. I've also worked in Sierra Leone, but not as a civil servant. That was for an NGO on secondment. But yeah, I've been lucky enough to visit a lot of different countries. Chinese was part of my degree, so I was lucky enough to spend some time in China and see parts of Asia while I was there.
Okay, so you're the first female High Commissioner to Ghana. What does it feel like to be the first one, and how are you going to use that role to inspire others?
I mean, it's a great privilege to do this job. To be the person who's been chosen to represent the UK in a country that's as important to us as Ghana is a huge privilege. And it feels extra special to be the first woman in this role. I'm not alone. There are a lot of senior women diplomats in Accra. I'm glad that the UK has now joined that group. But yeah, I really want to make the most of it while I'm here. So not only having conversations with my own colleagues, both here in Accra and across the FCDO network worldwide, but also seeing what I can do to persuade young women in Ghana that they can do whatever they want to do. There really needs to be no limit.
Okay. And what is your ambition for Ghana during your tenure? Because Ian, he introduced the Ghana Grant as a way to engage with so many people and at different levels. Are you also thinking about a campaign to engage Ghana?
So not a bike ride. I enjoy cycling, but I'm not as professional as Ian in that regard. But certainly I want to get out across the country. And one of the great opportunities in this role is being able to meet a wide variety of people. So I really want to get under the skin of the country, find out what makes people tick and what are the things that really matter to Ghanaians. It's often easier in the position that I'm in to engage with the big businesses rather than the smaller businesses, the well-known people rather than the everyday people, and I want to find a way to crack through that and get to know what life is like for everybody in the country. So I will be out and about a lot. I will be looking for different ways to talk to all sorts of different people. Hope to use food as a way into that, the arts, fashion. Yeah, looking forward to getting to know the country.
Have you seen any places yet?
So far, no.
Around the country?
Sadly. I visited a few years ago while I was based in Nigeria with family, and we visited Cape Coast Castle, but that's as far as I've got. So now that I've presented credentials, I'm very much looking forward to getting out and about.
Let's talk about football a bit. I mean, the English are passionate about their football. Do you have a favourite
Liverpool is our family team. Yeah, not a popular one in Ghana, I don't think.
Liverpool?
You seem to be more Tottenham Hotspur.
No. Liverpool is also quite popular.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I mean,
Aston Villa, I know, is popular too.
Yeah, and Chelsea is also popular. The blue.
That's you, is it? I should have worn some red.
But that's okay. So the UK and Ghana's partnership keeps evolving. With every High Commissioner, Ian Walker, he was focused on business, trade, and economic opportunities, aligning both countries' ambition for a greater partnership. What will be your focus for the next phase of this relationship?
So I wouldn't expect any major change. There'll be a lot of continuity. I think people in my position make a mistake if they think that it's all about them. It's not. I'm here in order to deliver on a long-term strategy for the Ghana-UK partnership. So economics, trade, our investment relationship, they will continue to be really high priorities. Those are the things that will create jobs, that will bring prosperity to Ghana, and that's good for Ghana, it's good for the UK as well. So there'll be a lot more around that. I really want to champion Ghana's role in the region. I know that security is a priority for this government, and it's a priority for us as well. So I'm pleased that we've started a security dialogue with Ghana. We've had a Major General from the UK in town this week for Army staff talks. So there are lots of things that I think we can do in that space to bolster Ghana's role as a leader in the region.
All right, so you're talking about the recent trip by the UK's Minister for Africa to strengthen the UK-Ghana security and trade partnership. The £250,000 additional funding has been provided to support Ghana's security. Can you explain how it's going to trickle down to the rest of the population?
Yeah, so we'll be using that money in different ways. A lot of it is looking at how we can support Ghana to be ready should there be some sort of crisis, a terrorist crisis, for example. So we're looking at the training that goes around that, helping the various parts of government that need to be part of the response to work together. We'll be looking at supporting for a live exercise later in the year. Okay. So lots of things around that. Also the use, the analysis of intelligence. But it goes beyond that as well, and looking at some of the work that we're doing in the human development space, recognising that really to tackle security, instability, it's the human development, those long-term drivers that we need to address. People need jobs, they need services, able to access quality services where they live. So what I want to do is bring all of that together.
Okay. Now, one thing on the minds of many Ghanaians has to do with corruption and the fight against corruption. There are those who don't believe that government or the state is doing enough to fight corruption, and that corrupt politicians and all sorts of people get away with their loot because the state is not clamping down on them. Is there a way that the UK government can support the fight against corruption so that Ghanaians can see, those who have not been convinced about the fight against corruption can see something being done?
Yeah, so it's a really important point. Means of tackling corruption is a bit of a golden thread running through a lot of our activity here in Ghana. Areas that I would draw out would be the government's digitisation agenda here in reducing the human-to-human contact and moving more government services online. They're reducing the opportunities for corruption at low levels in the system. At the higher levels, it's so important for people to see that nobody is immune to prosecution. If people steal money, they will be prosecuted for stealing money. So the work that we're doing around illicit financial flows and to counter money laundering is really important in that regard. The UK does not want to be a destination for corrupt money, and so it's important for people in Ghana, people across the world, to know that if they try to hide their ill-gotten gains in the UK's crime agencies will be looking for them.
So essentially the systems are there to detect people who would want to launder such monies, illicit monies, and the system will deal with them.
Yeah, that's right, absolutely.
Right. Do you intend to call out people who engage, are maybe seen to be engaged in corruption, political leaders and others during your tenure?
Yeah, where the evidence is clear, then people need to know what's happening. I would put a note of caution on. These cases are notoriously difficult to prosecute. Building up the evidence is really hard, especially when it involves complex chains of money. One of the things that we're doing is helping the authorities in Ghana to build up that expertise so that they're able to follow the money and work out who is implicated in a case and be able to build a compelling case against those people.
Yeah. You indicated that, yes, when it comes to trying corruption cases, it's very difficult. But that's another problem that a lot of Ghanaians have. They don't think that the justice system is dealing as fairly with them as they should. The people who strongly believe that they have a case and they get into the justice system, it's either they're delayed or they get cases ruled against them when they think that they really had a strong case. Is there a way that the UK government again can support the justice system and to ensure that there's fairness? And maybe just to add to that, it's typically said in Ghana that you would have someone go steal maybe a bunch of plantain or some farm produce just because they're hungry, and they're caught and they're handed down, some really stringent sentences. And yet we have politicians who have been found to have been corrupt, and the system says refund the monies, and people don't think that this is fair. This certainly can't be fair.
So the issue that you've just raised brings up a good example of a way that UK has worked with Ghana's judicial system. We've worked with them to help develop sentencing guidelines so that there is less scope for that discrepancy between the crime and the guideline. It takes the subjectivity out of it, and there's a set of criteria that have to be followed while sentences are being handed down. But I think that's it's really important that the judicial system is able to act independently, objectively, and without political or any other influence. And on top of that, it's important that people see that to be the case as well.
Indeed. And there's also the case of people who report cases to the police, crimes to the police, and we're not getting resolution. It usually takes like forever for there to be resolutions to these crimes. Are there systems or other programs that UK-funded programs that are supporting the police to become, as sharp as the Scotland Yard, for instance?
It's one of the things that we're looking at through our security dialogue. So we've agreed that there should be closer cooperation in these areas, and we're working with the various agencies in Ghana to come up with a shared work programme. So the first set of meetings towards that have happened already. We hope to have an agreed plan by the end of the year so that we're really clear on how we can help to address the issues that really matter here.
What do you make of the recent coup in Guinea and the suspension of the country by ECOWAS?
Yeah, so the UK government has joined ECOWAS and the African Union in condemning the coup. It's clear that it's unconstitutional, and we call for the president to be released and the constitution to be reinstituted as soon as possible.
But yes, there are those who say, well, the ECOWAS and the other regional bodies, they saw or they looked on as the president, Alpha Condé, overthrew the constitution, which was illegal, and got himself a third term. And yet, when there was another illegality, they're condemning that illegality. Why didn't they condemn the first one?
You'd have to ask the ECOWAS members. What I can say, though, is I think under President Akufo-Addo's leadership now, their strong condemnation and their suspension of Guinea is, in the UK's opinion, absolutely the right course of action, and we're fully supportive and in complete agreement with them on that.
Okay, so yes, I may want to ask, ECOWAS about that, but I would want to ask the UK, because you also observed that the Alpha Condé overthrew the constitution.
Yeah. So, I think it's very important. Constitutions are there for a reason. The people need to see that their constitutions are being respected, and the politicians need to know that the procedures, the rules that are set out in the constitution are there for them as much as they're there for everybody else.
Yeah. Especially when there seems to be some support for the coup in Guinea, because we're seeing viral videos of the junta leaders driving through the streets and being cheered on. And so if you have an ECOWAS or a UK coming to condemn the coup when the people themselves feel this is probably what we wanted, you seem to be speaking at variance to what the people are.
So my interpretation of that is that the people are showing their dissatisfaction at the way that their democracy has been respected or not by their leaders. I think it is a sign of the importance that people in this region attach to democracy. I think that it's important for us to work together towards strengthening democracy, the rule of law, respect for what the people of a country want in thinking about how that country is governed.
Let's talk about press freedom, which is my area. I'm a journalist, and there seems to be what people call a culture of silence, where people who seek to speak out or speak up about issues that offend the powers that be they go after them. And we've had instances where a journalist has been called out and threatened, and next thing we know, the person is dead. And those who feel that if these things happen and we don't get resolution to them, then there seems to be state support of impunity against journalists. Is that something that you have observed yourself?
So, media freedom has been and continues to be a priority for our government, and I'm really glad that we were able to bring a number of journalists over to the UK for a Media Freedom Conference. The culture around media freedom in Ghana is something that I still need to get under the skin of, but absolutely it's important that when crimes are committed against journalists, when journalists feel like they aren't able to speak up, we've got to address those things because they're at the heart of a well-functioning, healthy democracy. If people aren't able to speak up about the things that matter to them, then the democracy is in trouble. And Ghana is well known around the world for being an inclusive, tolerant society where people are able to speak up. So yes, I'm looking forward to talking to you and others in your profession to find out more and to see what we can do.
All right, and let's talk some trade. The UK is the first country to sign an MOU with AFTA. What got you to do that, and why are you taking this relationship?
So we see the Continental Free Trade Area as a potential game changer for economies right the way across the continent of Africa. And frankly speaking, we see benefit in the UK for that as well. At the moment, trade between African countries is much lower than you would expect when you look at trade between countries on the same other continent elsewhere in the world. So there's huge potential for that to grow and for that to benefit the smallest companies right the way to the biggest companies. We want to help in the realisation of that potential, and that's why we're really pleased to have signed this Memorandum of Understanding with the Secretariat.
Okay. Now, one of the things that the UK High Commission has been famous for has to do with the Chevening Scholarship, where you offer scholarships to Ghanaians to go study in the UK. Do you intend to expand it? Do you intend to take it forward so that a lot more Ghanaians can benefit? Because there are lots of people who would love to take advantage of that.
We certainly intend to take it forward, and yes, there are lots of Ghanaians who want to benefit from that. It's always heartwarming to see how many applications we get for this scheme. Each year we're able to offer about 20 scholarships to Ghanaians, which is it's a real benefit to Ghana. These are the cream of the crop. It's a really competitive process that people go through to secure these scholarships, and the expectation is that after people have benefited from a year's worth of world-class education in the UK, they then come back and bring that learning to Ghana for the benefit of the country. It's always one of the highlights for me to meet these people. You can see I'm smiling as I talk about it. They're so clear on what they want to do, why they want to pursue this study and what they want to do with it when they come back to Ghana. It's always a really energizing experience meeting with them and talking with them.
Finally, let's end on a musical note. We've talked about food, we haven't talked about music. Have you sampled some of the songs that we have in Ghana?
I'm really enjoying Ghanaian music,
okay.
Yeah. My kids and my husband and I can be caught dancing around the kitchen as we're getting food ready. It's impossible to keep your feet still, yeah.
Okay, and you're able to, move quite well to the beat?
No. This is why it's in my kitchen and not in public.
But any popular songs that you've picked up so far?
So one of my highlights, I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, we had a wellbeing day for our excellent High Commission team yesterday, and the comms team put together a super video with music by Socrates. So that's a current favourite at the moment.
Okay, so we're going to look for that. So it's supposed to be on social media handles,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
We're going to look for that to play. But thank you very much, Your Excellency, for making time to speak with us. And once again, I want to warmly welcome you to Ghana, and I hope you enjoy your stay.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Well, welcome. Welcome back. This is the AM show, and we're moving on to a very important conversation this morning. Now, doctors treating children with cancers say they're concerned about the increasing number of cases in the country. More than 1,200 children under the age of 15 are estimated to develop cancer in Ghana each year. Some of the common cancers we're looking at include leukemia, lymphoma, retinoblastoma, Wilms tumor, soft tissue sarcoma, and neuroblastoma. Before we get into a conversation here in studio, here's a report by Harriet Thompson.
10-year-old Bright had come with his aunt for follow-up checks at the oncology daycare unit, following a removal of one of his kidneys. In 2019, he was diagnosed with Wilms tumor, a cancer that attacks the kidney.
I went to some human house, then I was not wearing dress. Then they didn't. Then the woman saw it. Then they say, then he called my father. Then my father come and saw it. Then they say we should go to Tamari. We come to Tamari. They say they can't treat us. Then they send us to here.
Shortly after he was referred to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, his father died, and his mother abandoned him in the care of his auntie, Blessing.
We were there when we realized that one side of the abdomen, the left part, it was like a boil on it. And my mom and dad decided that it's just for herbal treatment, local treatment. And they sent him to the herbal. When they sent him, he was there. They've tried their best, but it couldn't work. When he returned back home, if he's going to urinate, you see that it's blood. That was the time my mom and my dad decided that where it has gotten to is not for just local treatment. They have to go for medical to check and see what is going on. When we got here, we followed the procedure. They started the treatment. Everything, it was fine. We went through the surgery. It was fine. We went for radiotherapy, or it was okay. And we finished our treatment. That was on last year, December.
Bright is among 1,200 children who develop the condition in Ghana every year. At the oncology department, another child, 13-year-old Gabriel, is battling leukemia. In a matter of a year, he had undergone several tests, chemotherapy, and dropped out of school.
They do operation on my ear, and they took the tinsam. They took him to pathology. Then they tested. They started giving me the medicine. Then the thing gone. They say that if I finish the treatment before I'll go to school again. Yes.
When you don't go to school, how does it make you feel?
It's paining me. I feel like I should go to school.
6 weeks after Abna Nyamiche delivered Adepa, she noticed her eyes were jaundiced and quickly sought medical care. Adepa was later diagnosed with retinoblastoma, a cancer of the eye. At 6 weeks, I realized she had something yellowish on her left eye, and so I brought her quickly to Kolebu. It was there that she was diagnosed of eye cancer. She had her first surgery at 2.5 months old. Now, her left eye has been removed and she's okay.
And I'm here surgery. Yeah, surgery now 2.5 months.
The only reason we're able to treat the majority of these patients is purely based on benevolence of organizations.
Dr. Lily Gloria Tego is training to become a pediatric oncologist. She tells me that treating childhood cancers is very expensive.
So it depends on the type of cancer and the stage of the cancer. So for some of our cancers, you may need as little as maybe 2,500, and for another, yeah, I'm saying little in relative terms to what I'm going to say next. For another, you may need as much as 40,000.
Lack of funds forced more than 50% of sufferers to abandon treatment midway. Lifeline for Childhood Cancers, Ghana, is one of many benevolent organizations supporting families with treatment. They fund treatment and medication to hundreds of children, including Adepa, Bright and Gabriel. Ekuya Sapong is executive secretary.
And the last thing any woman, any mother thinks about is that my child has cancer, so I need to escalate it. So it's mainly because of that that we get the very late cases. And so for Lifeline, we do a lot of awareness creation, speaking to the general public, anybody who would listen, on understanding and identifying the early warning cases, you know. We also do advocacy. So currently, childhood cancer is not covered under the National Health Insurance.
And that last statement, they're very indicative of what the situation really is like. Childhood cancer is currently not covered by the NHIS, and I'm sure you can imagine how much it costs to treat cancer in children, everything that has to go into that. Well, the Korle Bu Child Health Unit and other stakeholders are collaborating to raise awareness this month. They also need to raise funds to support treatments as well, especially because it's not covered by our national health insurance. So in studio joining me this morning, I have Dr. Chidema Ononodu. She's a medical doctor at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital Children's Unit, and Agnes Kujo from the Tema Supreme Leo Club. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Really great to have you in studio. Let me start with you, Chidema. Childhood cancer is not really something that we talk a lot about, one. It's also not something we really think about much, I guess, unless it hits you. I have two kids. I've never once, looked at them and thought about cancer. You're thinking about colds and, eye stuff and, itchy allergies, asthma, never cancer.
Yes.
Is that why you're seeking to raise awareness? And is it just that childhood cancer is overlooked completely?
Well, we are seeking to raise awareness because, just like you said, it's not something people easily think about. I mean, nobody wants to be told that their child has cancer, because people tend to see cancer as a death, sentence to the child. And we're here to tell people that childhood cancer can actually be cured. About 75 to 85% of childhood cancer usually can be cured, but then it depends on, if the child presents early, early, coming to the hospital early, picking up the signs early before the cancer has spread to the other organs. So yes, that's why we are here today.
To raise up. But why is childhood cancer so overlooked?
Well, I'd say that I think because, you see, like we're saying, the awareness is not there. That's why it's been overlooked. And because people think it cannot be cured. So maybe you're thinking, why would you pump in so much, money into this area if it can't be cured? But I'm sure if people hear that it can be cured, then people would start looking at it.
Looking at it. I mean, so when you compare childhood cancer to adult cancer, I'm not sure about the statistics, but I feel like for most adults, cancer is kind of like a death sentence. But, this morning you're telling us that in children, it's actually not. What's the reason why, most cancers in children can be cured as opposed to adults?
Well, as for the reason, I can't really say, because even telling you the cause of cancer, most time the cause is unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah, but children are very resilient. They're a very resilient group of people, and we notice that for them, sometimes, like what we watched, the child that was had his surgery, I think 2 months or something. For them, sometimes the cancer starts originating even before they are born. Yeah, and then we notice that the moment you pick it up early and it hasn't spread to the other organs and you start your treatments, they are fine. And then these are children that have up to 50, 60 years to live.
Yeah.
So just get it early and, the child will be fine.
I mean, so the figures are about 1,200 cases a year.
Yes, that's the estimate.
That's the estimate.
Yeah.
Has it always been about this much, or is it are the figures going up?
So actually, the estimate is 1 in 500 children would have cancer in Ghana, and Ghana has about 29 million population. Yeah, so when you put that, you realize that about 200 children would get cancer before they are 15 years old. However, that's actually not the number of cases we see at Korle Bu.
Okay.
Yeah, at Korle Bu, we are seeing about 180 cases. So that shows you that cases are being underreported, and we are not getting the actual statistics. So it means that we are missing a lot of children in the local regions and places where, you know, immediately a child gets something that looks like cancer, they don't go to the hospital, and then they tend to treat it some other way, and then the child probably dies.
Right.
Yes. So this is 1,200 is kind of an estimated number, but what we actually see is about 180.
And 8 cases. Agnes, let me come to you. In terms of reporting the cases of cancer, is it because, for example, in the rural areas or in you know, the outside of Accra and all of that, if it's not covered by the National Health Insurance, people cannot afford the health care, so they're not taking their children to the hospital, or even if they are, they can't afford to run the further test that will confirm the diagnosis, so it's just going unreported.
Exactly. So as we watched the video, it's not covered by the NHIs and it's quite costly. So parents tend to resort to herbal treatments. Yes.
Wow. Herbal treatments. Yeah. Is this after they've gotten a diagnosis, or they're just doing general treatments?
So the general idea that people have sometimes when the child's eye is yellowish in color, cough here and there, people tend to be like, well, it's just a normal cold. So they go to these traditional herbalists and get some medicine. But then as it goes on, that is when they go and then look for further treatment. I believe at that stage, doctor can tell us that it has already got
progressed. So then there's not much that can be done.
Yeah, well, I mean, we usually still do something, but then that is when it becomes so frustrating, and then you end up seeing parents abandon their children, like we watched. So there's a lot of cases of abandonment of treatments for some of these children.
Okay. When you said abandonment, I thought you meant that they were leaving their children in the hospital.
No. I mean,
they're
like
abandoning the treatment, so they just take the children away because it's become too
expensive.
How much does it cost? Like an average, you know, length of treatment. How much would that cost?
So, like, I mean, every cancer is different. Yes. So you can have as less as 2,500 cedis. And then as much as 40,000 Ghana cedis over a 3-year period.
Wow.
Especially for a cancer like leukemia.
Okay, wow.
It takes about 3 years, So that's why some of them have to drop out of school.
For treatment, because they're in the hospital.
Because they're in the hospital.
They practically live there.
Exactly. There's a building there we call the Mother's Hostel, where they live, and then especially when they are coming from outside Accra. Yes.
Wow. That sounds so tough. I mean, can you imagine dealing with the emotional and the psychological burden of having a child who has cancer, and then you can't afford the treatment as well? I mean, that must be just something else. What are some of the cancers, the particular types of cancers that children are dealing with in Ghana?
Okay, so the most common ones, the first would be the lymphoma, which is cancer of lymphoid tissues, and the next would be the leukemia, cancer of the blood. Then you have retinoblastoma, cancer of the eye. And then you have nephroblastoma, which is cancers of the kidney. And then you have cancers of have some soft tissues in the body, the bone, which is osteosarcoma, and then brain cancers.
These are the cancers that children are dealing with?
Yes.
Wow. Is there a reason why we're seeing more of these cancers? I mean, even let us just take it away from just childhood cancer just for a second. Is there a reason why we're seeing more of these cancers? Is it that, you know, cases are being reported more, or are we doing things more that are causing these, you know, these cancers to kind of thrive?
Well, one, I think cases are being reported more.
Okay.
That's one. But then also, I mean, like I said earlier, the causes of the cancers are not always known. However, we still have some, you know, factors that, you know, help or add or contribute to cancers, like environmental factors. You have radiation is one, and there's a lot of radiation now as compared to, you know, before. Then you have some of the infections associated with cancer, like hepatitis B, Epstein-Barr virus, and then HIV. Right. They are associated with cancers as well. You have some medications, and then pesticide exposure in the environment.
Okay.
It's also associated.
So some of these things are okay. So what do you need? What do you need to be done? What do you need the government to do? What do you need parents to do? What do you need the media to do? Like, how do we, change the narrative of this and just make, caring for children with cancer easier?
Okay, so first of all, we are advocating that cancer treatment should be put on the NHIS scheme.
For children or for
children,
adults? Okay.
Because it's very costly, as Dr. rightly said. And Ghana is a middle-income economy.
Basically, we are broke, yeah. Basically, yeah.
Just a few of these parents can afford to do the treatment. So we are advocating that we want the government to put it on NHIS, even if not the full treatment, at least.
Some,
yes.
Yeah, at least some.
And then also advocacy. When we keep on encouraging parents, the fact that you see that your child is coughing or has reddening of the eye, a little blisters here and there, doesn't mean you should always go and get some paracetamol or whatever it is, but then you have to go for checkup just to find out if the child is okay. As doctor said, if it is seen early, at an early stage, then much can be done about it. So basically, we are creating awareness for parents to know that, well, if they get to know that their child is diagnosed of cancer, they shouldn't abandon the child. As some communities see as devilish, like, yes.
Right.
So, oh yes, statistics have shown that some parents, when their children are diagnosed with cancer, think that the child is, how do I put it, witchcraft or anything, yes, of that sort. So it results to abandon of the child. We saw in a situation of the 10-year-old boy, the parent, dad passed away, mom has run away. Why? We don't know the reason, but this could be some of the reason. So we are here to let parents know that it can be cured. We can help the children, as Dr. Riley said. So let's do our possible best and help our children, our sisters and brothers as well.
Okay. So I think the biggest thing is really getting the government to put some part of the cost on the NHIS.
Yes, that's one of the major things we are advocating for.
How much of a difference would it make?
Oh, it would make a whole lot of difference. It will make a whole lot of difference.
Okay.
Because
I want you to paint it out for us, because sometimes when you're appealing to government to do something, and remember that they're hearing so many appeals, teachers want their salaries raised, this wants this, this wants this, this wants that. But sometimes it takes, one story of how, 2,000 CDs or 3,000 CDs, which is something that somebody could spend in an hour, could really make a difference to family, So I really want you to paint a picture of how much of a difference it would make, to the lives of maybe one of your patients or two of your patients, so that we can actually really catch their attention. Otherwise, there are a lot of people screaming, at the government to do a lot of things. And so we have to, do you get what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So how much of a difference would it make?
Okay, so, for Gabriel, like we saw in the video, I actually know Gabriel.
Okay.
I was actually there when Gabriel was diagnosed, and then when he started his chemotherapy, and I've seen him make a lot of progress. And it's actually been amazing watching him, and he's actually been taken care of by his grandmother.
Wow.
Yeah, at the mother's hostel. I think since he came in, that was last year, he hasn't gone home. Okay, so somebody like Gabriel, who we can see really wants to go back to school, if let's say his grandmother for some reason runs out of finances or out of people helping or supporting, then what happens to Gabriel? Yeah. So if his grandmother can have some assistance by maybe some medications on insurance, some of the labs, because not just medications, they are doing labs, they are doing investigations, and all this costs a lot of money. CT scans cost about 1,200 cedis, and they have to do a series of this, to make sure that the treatment is working. They have to do MRIs, they have to do bone marrow biopsy. All these things are expensive. They are very expensive. So if something like bone marrow biopsy is on insurance, I think bone marrow is about 100 and something cedis. It would help.
It would.
Any little helps. Like you get it. Any little like assistance that they can get will go a long way to support, to show them that you're not on your own. I mean, we know that this is a problem in Ghana, and we know that we are willing to support you. You get what I mean? Yeah. So I think any little would help. The government, especially putting it on insurance, to tell you that some of these things are free.
Yeah.
You get me? Because you're writing the labs for them. Like you're writing the labs for a child that has malaria. And then you can tell the mother that, okay, look, so full blood counts and malaria and blood film for parasites is on insurance. And you already see a smile on their face. They know they're not paying for something.
Yeah.
But in this case where you're writing all the labs and nothing is on insurance, everything has to be bought with money.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot.
Yes.
I can imagine the number of parents who may have come to you and you've written out the labs and they've walked away with that piece of paper and never come back.
True.
Never come back because they don't have the money
to
pay for these labs, and so they take their children home and then they die.
True. That's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Sometimes we actually have to keep them, we do a lot of counseling in the oncology unit, a lot of counseling.
You keep the children, kidnapping the children so that the parents can go and look for money and come and do it.
Exactly. We have to keep counseling and encouraging them that, and sometimes too, we try to support as even healthcare professionals. But,
how much can you do?
Exactly.
Right, yeah, how much can you do? Oh gosh, okay. Well, that's a difficult one, but thank you so much for coming to talk to us about it. And I mean, of course, we will, talk about it as much as we can and try to get, the awareness out there. I think some of the most important things that you said is that childhood cancer is curable.
Yeah.
So take your kids to the hospital. Can you just, for a minute, just talk to Ghanaians about self-medication? Like, can you just, well, this is also to do with the cancer, but can you just talk about self-medication? Because we are just like consultants, doctors, everybody in the house. Like somebody, if your child falls sick, you diagnose them, you treat them like...
I know, right? I mean, we are all guilty. That's number one. I think we're all guilty, but we should talk about it more. If there's, something like your child is having persistent headache for over 2 weeks, I don't see any reason why you should be self-medicating still at home. That could actually be one of the early signs of cancer. And then there are other things like you have an unexplained, like if your child is just losing weight, and then you feel like, oh, maybe he's not eating well, but you should check it out after a couple of. You should check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah. So I think self-medication, Ghana, it's not the best.
It's not the best, but thank you so much once again for joining us. And this is an appeal, of course, to government to put childhood cancers on the NHIS. A lot of parents who cannot afford care. There are a lot of children and future leaders who are dying because their parents cannot afford what it takes to get them a cure. And childhood cancer, 75 to 80% is curable. So let's do something about it. Let's make a difference. A very big thank you to you, Dr. Chidima and Agnes, for joining us. Your final words. Okay, you have final words. Okay. All right.
So as part of raising awareness, the Lions Club International is partnering with PZ Cousins.
Okay.
They are camel antiseptic product. So for each camel product you get the antiseptic.
Okay.
10 pesos goes into the coffers of Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
Okay.
The childhood cancer unit.
That's fantastic.
So entreating and encouraging all persons. Even you.
I will.
Get one for yourself.
I will.
Your children.
My ancestors, my unborn children, everybody, yes. Just to help a cause.
Yes.
So, okay, is it any of the PZ Cousins products?
No, they're camel antiseptic.
Camel, that one specifically.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So if you want to donate and you're not sure how to, you can do this. You can buy camel antiseptic products and 10 pesos will go to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Is there any way that people can actually just directly donate?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have some mobile money numbers made available as well as bank account numbers.
Okay. So we will put that up on the screen when we come back. Because we don't have them, do we? Oh, we do? Yes. Okay, so Echo, if we could put that up on the screen, that would be great. Or you can pop by Joy FM. As usual, we'll direct you to the right places. But let's make a difference this year to some child somewhere who is in pain and needs your help. Do you have some final words as well?
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I want Ghana to know that childhood cancer is curable, and early diagnosing is key to curing childhood cancer. So please, let's endeavor to take our children to the hospital, especially when we are not certain of something and it's taking way too long.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Agnes, can you quickly run through the numbers, the Momo numbers for us?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. You don't have them off here. Okay, all right. And we'll come back with all those details, but we're taking a quick break. When we come back, we'll give you the details so that if you would like to donate, you can. And IB will be bringing us the showbiz news. Don't go anywhere. This is still the AM show.